today at home, first time in my kitchen that I'm actually doing a video for everybody at home, and to get a little bit understanding about the way I eat at home versus how I cook professionally in restaurants. I think it's important because some of my favorite ways to eat are primarily one pot meals. Everything in a Dutch oven, stews, crock pots, slow cookers are perhaps some of my favorite dishes that one will enjoy. And today, I'm actually going to be working on this over here. Now we have some lamb neck bones that I actually picked up. I actually just let them marinated overnight, simple seasoning, whatever spices you prefer. Salt, pepper, garlic, onion, a little bit of acid. I use lemon juice. I help that get sitting through. You can use a little bit of red wine vinegar, or apple cider vinegar, rice wine vinegar, whatever you want. It's up to you. I'll have a recipe afterwards for exactly this amount. But right here, we're actually going to be making red wine braised lamb necks. So outside of the marinating process, while they were marinating, I actually used a cold smoke gun and smoked them. That way it actually permeates into the meat a little bit overnight in the fridge. So after smoking them, wrap them really tight, cap the lid on there, and just suffocated them in that smoke, and let them go right into the fridge. So that has been about 24 hours in the marinade. First thing we're going to get going is actually the Dutch oven. I'm going to bring you guys a little bit closer this way so you can get to see what's happening. Lamb necks up close. I'm going to have a picture of them as well. As you can see, really nice size pieces. Also, I'm throwing in a lamb shank in there as well. I'm doing that just because of the meat content that I'm going to be able to gain from this versus the amount of meat that I'm getting on here. Now, lamb is one of my favorite pieces of meat, period. I don't get enough, and this is exactly why I'm making this dish here, because it is going to be awesome. We're going to be using a spicy long paprika pepper that I actually got from upstate New York at the Kelder Farms. Did a lot of pepper picking. So once we get these going and seared, we're going to be throwing in the rest of our ingredients, and we'll go step by step. Put a decent amount of oil in there because I actually want to get a good, nice brown sear on the lamb necks. Actually going to throw in the shank here. You don't want to overcrowd the pan. You don't want any steam forming, that way you don't get any browning. So, small batch at a time, remove the meat, let them rest, and continue with the rest. Beginning to smell really delicious, and we're going to check on them. We have really beautiful browning there. I'm going to flip them on all sides. I want to get every side nice and brown. Now I'm putting in the rest here while the others are resting. Oil is still nice and beautiful and hot. Should just be able to fit them all in. While I cut these up, you don't have to be perfect here, but you'll understand why I'm actually pre-scoring them before chopping. This makes everything easier for myself, and it has a lot to do with my OCD. That way I can just go straight across and chop all the way. I'm always left with the ends. Now, some of you can just finely chop those and everything, but I actually save a lot of the ends and any vegetable scraps to make my own sauce at home. Usually, if I never catch up to it the same day, then it's okay, especially if you're at home. Just to get a Ziploc bag and freeze any scraps or vegetables. That way you can always later make a vegetable stock or chicken stock or beef stock, whatever it is that you're doing. Most importantly, even if it's frozen, it doesn't matter. The whole point is not to waste. And unfortunately, there's a lot of waste out there. And that's something that I try to avoid even at home. Just try to use as much scraps as possible. And like I said, in my case, I just serve it up for stock. I have all my onions chopped up, and like I said, I'm going to save these over here for stock, later use. Everything's chopped up. I did about 4 onions, and that's not including obviously the entire whole onion, but 4 onions is just enough for me. Now I have some peeled garlic here, and so you know, back here I have my bottle of red wine. I'm using a cab, Cabernet Sauvignon. My label wines. I have beef broth. I have my garlic. Now I am going to be using, easily I do love garlic a lot. And I'm not chopping here, I'm just smashing the garlic. When we throw it into rendered lamb fat and everything. I'm probably going to say, I'm going to go with the entire pack that I have here. Now, if you don't like garlic so much, you could go with less, and I think this is more than enough here. Remember, this is going to be cooking for a good amount of time, and so we want a lot of flavor to hold up into this dish. There's not a lot going in here, and believe it or not, that's why it's super easy to do. We really just have the wine, the onions, the peppers, the stock, and that's it. It's just going to go, aside from some of the seasoning, and a tomato paste that we're actually going to be adding here, so it has some body into the sauce. That's it. And another tip for you guys out there is to clean as you go. It's so important to clean as you go. Nobody wants to be cleaning and doing dishes after eating dinner. It's pointless. If you just clean as you go, your life will be a lot easier, and your kitchen will be a lot cleaner and smoother, and have an awesome operation just from home. Now with the garlic, I'm just going to smash. Okay. Nothing too crazy. Okay. next step. So we're going to complete the process here. Now, the mise en place that I have here, for those of you who don't know what mise en place is, my preparation that's already scaled out. So I have my smashed garlic, I have my 4 onions that are chopped, I have my sliced peppers. We have some seasoning here. Remember that the lamb is already marinated and seasoned on its own overnight, so I'm not looking to add any salt to here because one, it's kosher lamb, has a lot of salt content, so there was just a smidge in the marinade, not too much. As it reduces, it's going to get saltier because it is kosher lamb. Also, we have a little bit of cumin for those of you who like and dislike. I know the Jewish community, there's not a lot of haters on cumin, so it's okay, you can skip that. But there is some cinnamon. Cinnamon really balances out on the cinnamon really beautifully. We have our beef stock here. We have some tomato paste and we have some fresh rosemary that I just cleaned. And that's pretty much it. There's not a lot of fat left in there, so I'm just going to leave that in there just to start cooking garlic and onions. I'm going to throw in the garlic first, they're just smashed. Alright, that way it seasons the oil real quick. Oil is still hot. Really nice fond in there. Fond, which is the bottom of the pan with those nice caramelized bits of meat. Also the seasoning that came off from the lamb necks. Give this a quick stir. Right. Now I'm actually going to switch over to some tablespoons. Okay. Now we're going to go in with our onions. I'm going to crank up my heat back to a medium-high flame. I'm going to cook these until softened. I'm not looking for color here. I want to get them nice and soft. You see all that beautiful bond is pulling off with the moisture coming from the onions. Crank up the flame a little bit higher there to high. From adding the onions, the pan cool down quicker. So let that go. Now, I pre-started the potatoes. I leave them in whole. That way it's just a lot easier to peel. I didn't want to go through the mess of peeling the potatoes and just cleaning up. So I'm going to throw those guys in whole. As you can see very soon, they're actually going to come off the peel. And it still hasn't come to a boil yet, but it will very soon. I'll peel them, put them back in the water, finish the cooking process, and we'll get those guys whipped up. And also, we'll start our lamb very soon. Magic is happening. The onions are actually softened up, and we're going to go ahead with the rest of the procedure. First thing I actually want to get in here is some rosemary. I'm going to leave it in whole. It's going to break down on its own, and we're just going to be able to pull out the stem later in the final product. Now I'm going to go ahead here with about, I'm going to eyeball 3 tablespoons of tomato paste. Alongside with my peppers. Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. We all make mistakes. We're going to go ahead with the cinnamon and along with the cumin. And actually, we want to get this going.
Let it cook a little bit, let the tomato get some heat, get a little bit of caramelization with the tomato products so everything is nice and hot. That way when I throw in the wine, quickly boils up and we get a nice Maillard reaction that's happening in there. And we can snuggle our lamb necks in there, put a lid on it. Also, we'll be adding the beef stock, but I'm going to actually add my wine first. Now the beef stock, I have a quart out. I may or may not use it all. So once we get the wine in there, snuggle our lamb in there, and we'll actually put in the beef stock and a lid, and it's going to go into the oven for 2 hours at 350. Ready to go. We're going to add our wine, and just so you guys know, while the tomato paste is actually cooking, this has been here for about 3-4 minutes. The smell of the cumin and cinnamon that just fills up the house is quite amazing. As the cinnamon cooks in there with the tomato paste, it just releases so much flavor, and it just smells beautiful, and it's amazing spice to use with the lamb. So now we're going to be adding our cab. We have here, and we're going with the whole bottle. I bought an extra one for myself to drink. And yes, it's my bushel. We're gonna snuggle our wonderful lampshade. We're just gonna puzzle these in there, everything to fit beautifully. We have our beef broth. Just enough to cover the lamb. I'm not looking to soak. So as you can see, this was full to 1 quart. So we're going to say you're going to use about 2 cups of broth. I'm going to go right to the 2-cup line, and we're going to do 2 cups of broth. We're going to bring this to a boil, and then we're going to drop the lid on and right into the oven. Got this going to a boil. I'm going to leave it there for about 2 minutes before I drop it in the oven. Now a little bit later, you're going to notice a little bit of foam coming up. I'm going to wait for a little bit more. These are actually impurities. You want to skim that off as much as possible throughout the cooking process. And I'll show you a trick later to skim fat from the pot. That way you have a nice solid sauce with least amount of possible fat content. So I do have a skimmer. For some of you who don't, you can just use a spoon and just ladle it off the top. But for now, I'm going to let this go for about 5 minutes. I'm going to skim it and then right into the oven. Alright, it's going about 5 minutes now. I'm going to use my skimmer, handy dandy skimmer, and we're just going to skim this off the top. For others, like I said, you can use a spoon and just go over the top for these areas and remove it. As you can see, it's just pretty much just yay. It doesn't have to be perfect. That's good enough for now. We're going to come back to this later. And most importantly, we're going to drop this wonderful lid on. This guy is going in the oven. So at the start, I said I was going to make a mashed potato. And like I said, I boiled these all with the skin on. but I actually change of plan. I'm actually going to go with making smashed potatoes. So while they were boiling, I checked them for doneness using a thermometer probe, just piercing right through, making sure they're cooked through and not hard. I took these 3 out over here first because they were smaller, and then the rest of them I just removed by piercing as well and checking them through. We'll go into actually how to make smashed potato a little bit easier. I made the decision so I have a good crispy texture, a really nice skin that gets crisped up. I do like potato skins, and that way, once again, you don't have to waste a peel, a lot less work, and it's going to be an awesome flavor as they get crisped up in the pan. And once we get to that, we'll see the recipe for that as well. For the smashed potatoes, which we have here, once the potatoes are cool enough to handle, you just want to give them a light press. You want more surface area for extra crispiness. So remember, with the flatness, both sides, we're going to flip them. They're going to be crisp on one side and the other as well. So to give them a smash, you can use a hand, the bottom of a pot, the bottom of a bowl, whatever you like. But once they're cool enough that you can hold them, I just like to give them a small press. Bam, that's all it takes. And that's how you get smashed potatoes. Alright, so we got a nice cast iron going. I'm gonna put a little bit of oil. Just enough. I'm also going to be using some earth balance. Placing your potatoes just like so. And my flame is high here. Another option for this, if you didn't want to do this in a pan, is that you could pre-oil, little drizzle of olive oil or butter or any type of fat that you're going to use depending on the dish that you're making on the sheet pan. Pre-smash them, and then you're going to oil the sheet pan, lay them out, season, drizzle with oil on top, and into the oven about 400 degrees to 450 preferably, and watching them as they crisp up. Alright, so time to flip our potatoes. We want to check them, make sure they got a nice crisp side. Look at that. Beautiful golden brown. Feel them that they're nice and crispy. And then this is where I'm going gonna see if we're gonna get some fresh rosemary. You can use whatever herbs you want: parsley, dill, tarragon, rosemary, thyme. I'm just using rosemary because that's what I have available. Okay, so it's been 2 hours with the lamb, and as you can see, a really nice, beautiful reduction. Also, doesn't seem to be that much fat as far as separation, but you have a really nice, thick, beautiful consistency. The lamb itself is tender, and I'm actually going to let it go for about a half hour more in the oven. I pulled it out to check. I'm gonna get it to go 30 minutes more exactly. That way the lamb neck bones are even off the bone even furthermore. The shank seems to be pulling off nicely. I'm going to do a taste test for salt and pepper and seasoning and everything else, but like I said, with the kosher lamb, most likely it won't need to be done because of its salt content. So now that I got most of my potatoes done over here, I've actually decided that this dish needed something green. So I found some Brussels sprouts in the fridge, cut them in half, washed them, rinsed them. And instead of actually starting with a new pan, I'm going in the same pan that I just finished off my potatoes in the cast iron. And keep them really simple, just give them a quick toss, sear. I'm gonna actually throw in some garlic towards the end of their cooking process. And for these, you definitely want to go high heat. They're not going to burn, especially after being washed, and they're water content. So, little salt, fresh black pepper, and I'm not going to move those for a few minutes. So I dropped my potatoes in the oven to reheat. I'm soon going to pull out the lamb, and I have the Brussels going and getting cooked nicely. The aroma is very nice. Now you see that they're nice, getting a nice little quick char. And this is at the point where I actually want to put in my sliced garlic. Toss. Give these a taste. And they got about another 3 to 4 minutes to go before they're done. Brussels are just about done. Right before, we're going to finish them off with half a lemon. Squeeze that in there, give them a quick cut. And these are ready to eat. Just season with salt, pepper to your liking, and set aside. As you can see here, the lamb has reduced beautifully, and the actual lamb shank, you could actually see the bone exposed, which means the meat is at this point tender. The only thing that I'm going to be adding in here as final product is honey. It's actually buckwheat honey, so it's super intense on its own, and many people disagree or not like it. But when it holds up to something gamey or super flavorful like lamb, and as well as the red wine, it's going to balance out beautifully. I have about a tablespoon in here that we're just going to be adding into the end, and then we're going to toss that. We have this awesome rich sauce. Lamb is falling apart. Now, I'm actually going to remove this bone. As you can see, it just all fell apart. Coat and toss beautifully, and we're ready to plate. Just taste, adjust for salt and pepper. I'm going to give this actually a quick taste. Wow, super rich, delicious, and the 2 peppers that we actually put in there stand out very well. I actually wouldn't go more than the 2 peppers. I think it's just perfectly balanced. There's a nice acidity, nice fat content, nice sweetness now that's added in there from the honey, and a beautiful, well-rounded dish, especially for the fall with the cinnamon and the cumin and the red wine, and a little bit of that buckwheat honey goes a beautiful long way. Now we're just going to plate this up.
I'ma eat you. Mm.